I want to welcome to the program a good friend of the program. I don't think I've seen you since we did the live event in the Capitol, but we followed what you're up to. Congressman Bill Huizenga from Michigan. How are you, sir?
We're doing very, very well. And I just have to start off. You mentioned the program at the Capitol. The most impressive part of that entire show was having you, Duncan, and Smug on stage, and there wasn't one single utterance of a curse word. I couldn't believe it. I kept waiting. You know, how is McCarthy going to handle this? What's Elise Stefanik going to do?
I think Elise would be cool with it.
Yeah.
The rest of the crowd, I don't know.
No, but everybody's comms person would have been going, no!
Did we really hold it together like that?
Yes. It was impressive. I was ready with a clicker, a counter. You know,
wow. So, well, I mean, look, we must have been a little bit more reserved back in those. There's no way that happens again.
There was no bourbon involved,
so
right. that might have been.
I think that's probably responsible for most of it. But you, sir, have provided some alcoholic beverages here to the program.
Adult libations, yes.
I mean, this is incredible. So what you've brought us are local products, and one is called Dragon's Milk, which. I mean, it's intimidating.
Just start right there, right? I mean, it is. Well, I have to back up. You know, Katie Pavlich being on the last episode set a very, very high bar. Like I said, as I was coming in, I have no extinct animal burgers to deliver. But it
fire down an eagle and bring in an eagle breast or something.
Flamingo. It did seem a little though. I don't want to say common, but maybe expected that bourbon would be delivered. So I needed to bring some good West Michigan beer products. Grand Rapids and the surrounding area calls itself Beer City, USA. Kalamazoo, which is home to Bell's, and if anybody's out there drinking Oberon or Two Hearted.
So I didn't realize that was just such a hub for beer. Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and as a brewer down in Florida once told me, because I asked why their beer sucked in Florida, they said it's the water. Yeah. Right. And so we are.
Turns out you got some of that.
We got a little of it. Now other parts of the country keep wanting to steal it, but no, that is part of it. Is we got good quality water, which is the base of it, and then these guys do magic
magic that turns into moonshine. I'm looking at this thing. It's 17% ABV, and it's just so you know what I'm talking about here, is a bottle of beer that is indistinguishable from any other bottle of beer that you could buy at a store. But if you look at the small print, this thing is 17 ABV. I mean, wow.
I basically handed you a bottle of wine, not a bottle of beer right there.
So, wow.
Yeah.
So that's Dragon's Milk, and then you got this other one here, No Rules.
Yeah, No Rules is Perrin. Yeah, so the Dragon's Milk is by New Holland Brewery, a friend of the program as well, and great guys. Perrin was just recently sold, but they're keeping all their West Michigan good Midwest character about them, and the No Rules vanilla Vietnamese vanilla porter is based off the Big Lebowski line, right? You know,
no rules,
Donnie. There is no rules. It was Vietnam. There was no rules, and so these guys sourced local Vietnamese. I guess it wouldn't be local. They sourced Vietnamese vanilla that goes into this. 2 beer magazines gave that 100 points, and so
I mean, I can't wait to try this.
It's
looks
good,
fantastic.
good stuff, and you'll enjoy.
Sir, you've made a welcomed impression here.
Then we're off to a good start. Then, thank you, folks. Great to be with you. I'm out.
I love it. Well, listen, I mean, you're in the middle of a mess up in Congress, right? Because you've got just a disaster everywhere. Yeah. This administration is like mind-blowing how bad they are. I mean, literally everything they touch turns to absolute shit. Like, where do you start? I know one of the things that you've been focused on is energy, gas prices. You've gotten locked in on a lot of that.
Yeah. So the committee I serve on is financial services, and I know you've had a couple of folks. My best friend in Congress, Andy Barr. I do enjoy his product down in Kentucky, as I know you do as well.
Yeah, turns out.
And Mr. Lululemon himself, Patrick McHenry. That was very entertaining to all of us listening to him and his running tights story with the Fox.
I just have to give him credit for being forthcoming.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
it takes a bold man.
He didn't need to
now whatever a definition of a man is these days, of course. But he is a bold man, and he's willing to take a stand. And usually on a box. But
so, you are good friends. This is fantastic.
I just had my subcommittee chairmanship revoked. But other than that,
better get some of this stuff close to the finish line.
I should have quit right after the beer, and it really would have been pieced out. But no, the committee and the subcommittee that the ranking member and had been the former chair of is the capital markets is the shorthand for it, and we have oversight of the Securities and Exchange Commission, and it literally touches every publicly traded company in the United States. And that is energy companies. You look at what is happening with the inflation. And by the way, this was amazing. About a month ago, we had a hearing that was entitled Reasons for Inflation, Corporate Greed? ? And literally, Maxine Waters and her four.
There's a winner right there.
I'll keep moving along. So, all
right.
But Maxine Waters, in her opening statement, all of her witnesses literally said the only reason why we have higher prices on anything is because of corporate greed.
I mean, I just don't even know how to process that. Right? I mean, like the level of incompetence and ignorance, and I don't even believe they don't even believe this, right?
I sit there and honestly hope that they don't, because I can explain that. Look, you're doing it for political reasons. It's cynical politics. But if you really truly believe this, wow. Here's an Econ 101 textbook.
Totally. Right? I mean, I always tell people the last math class I took was actually called math. And I still am better than that.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
It's just, it defies the basic laws of economics. And, the worst case scenario is that they actually believe this, because then that means as a true believer, you're never going to change when the political winds shift. And the political winds have shifted, right? There's a whole lot of people that sit around the dinner table and the kitchen table trying to balance their checkbook. And when they had budgeted $150 or $200 a month for their gas so they could get back and forth to work and bring the kids to school and go to the grocery store, and that is now $300 or $400.
Yeah, it's just unattainable.
And then once you get to the grocery store, you're walking out with fewer groceries than you did, just a couple of months ago. And there is a sea change that's happening, but this I feel like I'm on a perpetual apology tour for Jennifer Granholm, who is our former governor in Michigan and who I served with when I was in the state house.
I don't think she gets it, Bill.
I'm beginning to believe you're right. Just beginning to believe you're right. And it's you sit there and kind of go, really? So you got John Kerry on one coast talking about how, oh, hell no, we're not going to do any more drilling, any more digging, any more energy exploration. And then you've got, Granholm and the Biden administration on the other hand, trying to defend, well, these guys just need to produce more. And oh, by the way, they shouldn't charge anymore.
But they actually don't stop talking about that first piece, which is the most amazing part, right? It's like, no, we actually do want to eliminate fossil fuels. I can't figure out whether or not refining more oil.
Yeah.
Like, as if every person is the dumbest human being in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, wait, oh, I don't know. I can't. It's too confusing. I can't figure it out.
Exactly. What? How do you do that? Right. As I've taught my kids, if it wasn't for a double standard, many people would have no standards at all. And that's right. It's exactly where this administration.
So, but tell me how the SEC loops into this.
Well, literally, because every publicly traded company is regulated by the SEC. By the way, I had one of my colleagues last year utter into a mic. By the way, it's amazing what people actually say into a live microphone, as we're doing today. But in a hearing,
it's in the house, Bill. Anything, it's like you speak of no rules. That's basically what it is.
Exactly. It makes me want to crack one of those half the time. I had one of my colleagues who she said that, well, I think if a private company becomes too big or too important, we should force them to become publicly traded so we can regulate them with the SEC. This is the mentality that these folks have, right? Government knows best, And Gary Gensler, frankly, is powering right on through with that, and many of the other commissioners, or at least the Dem commissioners on this. And how this all loops back in is the notion of materiality, meaning, okay, as a publicly traded company, you have to make certain declarations of future liabilities, for example. You have to look at what your impacts are that would cause an investor to maybe alter their investing decision or strategy on this, right? So that's how it touches every publicly traded company. You are a big oil company, ExxonMobil, whatever it might be. Guess what? Climate is a very material issue that you need to be talking about. What's happening with Gensler saying that every publicly traded company now has to report not only what Scope 1 is what they call it. Scope 1 is what we directly deal with or produce as a company, but there's Scope 2 and now Scope 3, which means you can have a supplier to a publicly traded company that has to disclose what the supplier's footprint is. And that's the environmental footprint. So I'm home to in the 2nd District.
So it's basically a backdoor way of
totally
getting all climate change. I mean, this is what these guys are really good at, right? And they do a ton of it through the SEC, both on an activist side and just the regulatory side. Is that they basically use business and commerce in this country as the cudgel to enforce their agenda when they can't get it done.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And particularly when the politics get to be where they're at.
Yeah.
If you're 35% in the polls, boy, they get real active.
Yes. Well, yeah, and it's they're flooding the zone with this. And I was just reading on the way over here the letter that the Farm Bureau and a number of other ag-producing associations have put out about this Scope 3. So the 2nd District in Michigan is kind of interesting. We're along the West Coast. For those of you listening, I'm holding up my right hand, and Detroit's just at the base of your thumb. Grand Rapids is kind of mid-palm, and I've got everything west of Grand Rapids and run along that lakeshore, and I'm home to a Heinz pickle plant. I'm home to Gerber baby food. So I know you guys have had a little experience.
Well, I mean, geez, it's not been great for baby food here lately. Well, at least not some forms of it.
But I've got egg producers, turkey processing. I've got a Tyson meat plant.
That's a lot.
And so we're a manufacturing base also. We're lots of Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 automotive. I'm home to the 3 largest office furniture makers in the world. And for any of my office furniture friends in West Michigan, they need a desperate upgrade in their office furniture out here.
So comes in here and starts taking shots at the Ruthless Center.
I'm trying to sell up.
This is incredible.
So Hayworth Corporation, good conservatives, by the way. Hayworth can outfit you very nicely. But point being is we're also an ag district, and you've got independent farmers that supply peas and carrots and whatever else into Gerber baby food, or these independent farmers that supply the cucumbers that become Heinz pickles. The same thing with the egg producers and the turkey processors. And now with this, so you're a publicly traded company, Nestle, which owns Gerber, you now have to go to your suppliers and say, we need your carbon footprint as you are going out and planting our organic peas.
Which is just wild, right?
Yeah.
It also basically eliminates any sort of small operation from being a part of the process, right? Because you need an environmental impact study and 18 people running around checking your soil every 5 minutes.
Yeah, and what that does is it squeezes out the actual small producer.
Yeah.
And whether it's ag or whether it's manufacturing, because that's the other thing is, we've got a tremendous amount of automotive suppliers that then sell everything from lighted visors and self-dimming mirrors to interiors. Lots of plastic injection molding that goes on. So they now have to go and report to the GMs and Fords of the world what their footprint is. Well, these guys are looking around going, we have half of a lawyer on staff because they're also our HR person, or they're also doing something else. Well, now you've got to have this entire department that is going to be doing this. So
now he's out with beakers in the backyard.
Yeah, and so No, it's gonna literally drive them out, which I think is part of their actual goal.
Oh, it totally is. Yeah, there's no question about it. I got to ask you about one thing because it's on my mind, and I don't even know if you have fully formulated thoughts about it, but it happened this morning, and that the FDA took Juul off of, or it looks like it could eliminate the product altogether.
Yeah.
They rejected their, and this comes after, the nicotine and half thing, the menthol thing, this whole mommy state situation. Yeah. It's as if they have no grasp on how marketplaces work.
Yeah.
Right? I mean...
Or individual decision-making.
Right. I mean,
this is Bloomberg in New York banning, soft drinks of a certain size. Okay,
Yeah.
Well, so is it fewer calories if it's 12 ounces than it is if it's 24? And I get it that, it's not healthy.
Is that, it's the role of government,
Exactly.
That's that's the question. And the thing that gets me is I don't understand what these guys don't understand about the crime implications of all of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because for 20 years, we haven't created any new smokers. We haven't. The people who have fought through and still smoke, they're
Smug.
committed.
Yeah.
Right? Smug's a committed man.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought him up. But you're right. Here's an adult making a decision.
Yeah.
Right. And so this government knows best mentality is amazing to me. And I'm all for disclosure of information, right? I don't think anybody would agree that, hey, if we're sneaking one past here, and you certainly cannot look at the back of a label of anything these days and say, okay, I didn't know this was fattening, right? And maybe I should read a few more labels, but it's this mentality that they have that government knows best, and you, common citizen, are way too common. We'll ignore the citizen part, and we're just going to start making decisions for you, whether it's in your investments, whether it's in your eating habits, whether it's in your driving habits, and we know best. So here you go. Here's your option, A or B. Well, maybe I want C, D, and E. Well, that's not available.
Just incredible. The last thing I'll ask you professionally before we get into our questions. What are these ESG standards? What are they?
Yeah.
So you got it. This has to be a big concern of yours, right? I mean,
huge.
ESG standards, it's basically, again, to what we were talking about, these are the requirements that public companies have to somehow adhere to in order to transact businesses with other organizations, right? And this is becoming, I think, a bigger and bigger. We heard Elon Musk talk about it with Tesla. We heard this become, a bigger and bigger issue. Feels to me like this is kind of the non-governmental way in which the progressives are actually using all power possible to implement their agenda.
Yeah, and they hear the footsteps behind them of what this election is going to be in November, and in the case of Mayra Flores and a number of others,
they're coming soon.
They're high heels,
right?
That they're hearing behind them, coming after them, and so they're jamming as much as they can into the rulemaking process, which is why you see shortened up comment period times. In the environmental, social, and governance movement and push, which way too many former conservative organizations have fully embraced.
Totally
now,
agree.
Who would have fought against this even just 5 years ago or 10 years ago. They're going to have a huge problem because there is no end to this, right?
It's also subjective as hell.
Yes.
Social, the middle one there. Like, even if we could agree on an E, which we can't, the S, what is that?
Well,
what is that?
And that's where you have this push to have, you have to have a certain number of these types of people on your board of directors. Well, I'm sorry, what if I don't have the gay doctor who's going to be able to go in and figure out what the medical implant it is, right?
It's just wild that even comes into the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a business that's trying to do business.
Yeah, and guess what? It shouldn't be material. It shouldn't be relevant. It ought to be who's the best person for this, regardless of their skin color, regardless of what their religious belief is. Are they the right person that's going to help your company make a decision? And absolutely, you see this, and it's rightfully so. for way too long, you saw women excluded from a lot of those board decisions, and they I mean, my wife's okay with this.
You'd be an idiot if you did that now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like that's just the marketplace. It's just a dumb thing,
and the marketplace can take care of that,
right?
But they. Again, when you fully believe in the dominance of government, you have to do it yourself.
It's wild stuff. Well, I hope, God willing, when you get into the majority, we can help sort of turn this back and do the kind of, you got your staff kicking the table down here, Bill. Let's see, we let anybody in.
I know.
Huh?
I guess so, man. I do have to give out one shout. My son Garrett is here, and he was the one that turned me on to Ruthless right at the very beginning. So he has dragged me very willingly so into the Minion crowd, and
I love it.
I love
it. Well, thank you for doing it. Listen, I got 3 questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there 3 questions? I've never heard that.
Yeah, I never. Yeah. These are brand new, so we may come up with something different here. Okay. You never know. Your last meal on Earth, you can plan it. What is it?
So I've been mocked within the office for this because I have put way too much thought into it.
If it's anything like Matt Foldy, you're fired. I don't know if you ever. We had Foldy on, and he gave us an answer that, frankly, like I wanted to turn the mic off and walk out. It was so bad. So I can't wait to hear what I got.
So there's and you can do the sop towards all the the local products and the squirrel whatever from if you're down south. I'm not going to do that.
That's what we call an inauthentic answer.
Yeah. Well, so in addition to the 2 beers, which I do personally enjoy, that are sitting in front of you. This is a gout be damned, cholesterol be damned.
Yes,
I'm not waking up tomorrow. So it's going to be app, soup, salad, main course, and dessert, maybe 2. And we're going to top it off. So my appetizer, I got to go with shrimp cocktail. It just that's that just
it's
is
a 5-iron down the middle of the fairway.
Yeah,
so
that's
far
right.
I feel good about it.
That's right. Okay, so my soup is a French onion soup.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's I'm a connoisseur of those. My salad, I'm going to go with the Caesar salad.
Okay,
and this time,
anchovies or no?
No anchovies,
okay.
But I'm going to add the croutons. I usually eat gluten free, and again, the gluten free is right out the door too. And I'm going to have probably 3 dinner rolls along with
last
that.
meal.
Then I got to go surf and turf.
Oh yeah.
Got to do surf and turf. The biggest steak because that's going to take the longest to eat,
right?
And a lobster tail, and while we're at it, might as well throw in some crab on top. My dessert. This is where
this is so good.
This is where
well thought through.
This is how I dream at night, right? Dessert. It's a little bit of a toss up. I'm a huge creme brulee fan.
Yeah.
But I feel like I probably got to have some chocolate. So like a chocolate lava cake.
Yeah. I mean, it's more too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of whip through a creme brulee.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other toss up though would be anything with a graham cracker crust.
You like a key lime or something like that?
Yeah, a key lime. I really like coconut cream.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Coconut cream.
Okay.
And
that's a little disgusting, but other than that,
you were with me till dessert. Okay, it was the 3rd option, right? For my dessert. And all of this, of course, going to get washed down with the most expensive red wine that I can possibly find and afford. But Camus would do that just nicely.
Perfect. So that has sort of been. You almost had my last meal to a T, except for the coconut thing. But
sounds like I owe you dinner.
When ISO was on, he actually put a name on the wine that he was, and I was just sort of blown away. I was like, all right. In case anybody was wondering if we're elitist, now it's now we've eliminated
for us mere mortals. Yes, we don't want to have to remortgage the house for the bottle of wine.
Yeah, so. Right. He was willing to put a number on it. All right. So question number 2.
Yeah.
You've never got into this line of work. Blue sky. You got tons of time.
Yeah.
What do you do with it?
Well, and like most politicians, I have 2 answers. One is the unrealistic Ted Cruz, blue
NBA.
sky, NBA.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I would have been a linebacker for the Lions.
For the Lions, that's a tough game.
Well, hey, it's a low bar for entry.
Yeah.
But then I would hope
still
to
be able to play linebacker for the Lions.
Ouch. Damn it, they're turning it around. They're turning it around. Restore the roar. This is going to be our year. I swear. Stafford was the problem. Everybody knew that Stafford was the problem. Oh, wait a minute.
He was definitely holding you back.
Yeah.
No question about it. I really
not having the same coach 2 years in a row is a bit of a a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, but you've picked some really good ones.
So, but I would have been football. But the real question is real estate and developing construction. Family is in construction. I love looking at a piece of property and solving, envisioning, and seeing what it could become and what's the potential.
Building stuff.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I will say before we depart this, anybody who's been on board with the Lions all the way through, right? And it just keeps going up that I really appreciate. Because there's not a franchise really in professional sports that has had that tough a run. I mean, it has been like when you took five straight wide receivers.
No rules.
When you took five straight wide receivers in the 2000s. I mean,
if we just had some decent players, I wish Barry Sanders would have actually developed, Megatron,
Herman
Stafford,
Moore
it's Chris Spielman, just. And Jerry Ball. I mean, the list goes on and on. But it is a.
Well, you're a good man to stick with it. Loyal to the end.
Yeah.
All right. So your final question. You know what's coming.
Yep.
Thrill of victory, agony of defeat.
Agony of defeat.
That's not surprising at all.
It's I have to battle my better angels on my one shoulder. Have to battle the little devil angels on the other shoulder. I hate to lose. I try to be nice about it. I've tried to teach my kids to be gracious and to be godly and to be charitable and all those things, but I hate it.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to figure this out. I could never figure out why I wasn't as excited about my wins as everybody else was. And because I was kind of like, okay, check, let's go. What's next?
I've avoided humiliation. Now we go on.
And we're back to the Lions fan. Okay, here we go.
That's just awesome. Totally true. I mean, that basically describes the agony of defeat guide to a T.
Yep.
All right, so Bill, you got a campaign as well as everybody else. If they want to help you out, where do they go?
Yeah, HuizengaForCongress.com, spelled just like it sounds. Okay.
I had a full. I'm glad I had a full bit that I was going to open up with just like interviewing you as though you were Wayne Huizenga.
Let's go with it. I love that.
And like waiting to how long it's like, hey, I'm not actually Wayne Huizenga.
Yeah. No, I'm on a much poorer branch of the family tree back there. So it's Huizenga 4FORCongress.com and follow me on Twitter. I haven't been banned yet. By the way, I was with Seth Dillon earlier this morning.
Oh yeah, nice. Babylon B.
Yeah, big fan of yours, and we were talking about I'm on a big tech task force looking at what we're going to do with Section 230 and some of those other things. But so I haven't been banned on Twitter as of yet. But so it's Bill Huizenga or Rep Huizenga on the official side, and we've got about 75% of the district is brand new because of redistricting in Michigan, and we had a nonpartisan redistricting commission. By the way, I'm using air quotes around that for those of you listening because I think that's a legal requirement. Yeah. We avoided a very protracted, very expensive primary, and we're moving ahead to November. But we got some real challenges ahead. But I'm looking forward to getting back into the minority.
Well, we're looking forward to having you in the middle of it for all those challenges. Next time you're here, we'll talk about the tech side too.
Excellent. Sounds good.
Thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me. All right, we'll see you guys.